Welcome back to the program. I have said on numerous occasions, Jostradamus has stricken once again. Well, I gotta say that this one is probably my best one yet. Because back in March of 2020, I said point blank, they are keeping Biden off of the campaign trail because of his mental illness, because of his dementia, because of all of that stuff. And I also said that they worked with China to shut down the country, to release the virus in order to stop President Trump. The same thing that I'm saying now with the shutdown. It wasn't about anything other than stopping President Trump. And I hate to do another I told you so, but now finally it's all coming out. Yes, 5 years later, it is now finally starting to come out. Why did President Trump do what he did the other day and go to Truth Social and basically say, that's it, I'm canceling everything having to do with the auto pen and every single executive order that Biden signed? Well, now we know the reasons why. Because it's something that we all knew from the very beginning. That it was indeed the Biden pretendency. Now think back how many times you heard me use those exact words. The Biden pretendency. The illegitimate Biden regime. How many times did I say that 5 years ago, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, 1 year ago? All that time. Trump or death, all of it. I have been right. And it feels good to be right in this case. But now I want justice. I demand justice. And that's what we need to get to. Today, we now know that it was indeed the Biden pretendency. Everything was staged. They had fake stages. They did makeup. They did hair. They did it all. And guess what? It all came from Hollywood. Katzenberg and Spielberg. That's right. Those two scumbags basically knew that the country had been hijacked. They knew that Biden was illegitimate, but they didn't care. And see, that's what you have to understand about the far left. They would rather have a brain-dead vegetable shitting himself than an actual president. Because as long as it wasn't Trump, we hate Trump. Anyone but Trump. I've had conversations with my own mother who knew that this guy was filled with dementia. And you know what she said to me? At least it wasn't Trump. Okay? That's the insidious response that these far left people give you. Because they don't care. They hate Trump so much that they were willing, as I said years ago, to steal an election and install a brain-dead puppet and then have everybody else in the cabinet running things. Exactly as I said. Exactly as I said. Well, the reason Trump went scorched earth yesterday is because of what the House Oversight Committee and James Comer released. And we found out today what that was all about. So let's listen closely to, what's this idiot's name? Is this Science, I think his name? Yeah, Jeff Science was another one of these AutoPen idiots. Well, here's what Chief of Staff Jeff Zients, whatever the hell his name is. Listen to this.
Was there ever any discussion about distance, having distance being an issue for President Biden to walk or anything like that?
I think that was part of this conversation, just minimizing the steps as we talked about.
That was part of the conversation, minimizing the steps. He doesn't speak very clearly and he mumbles a little bit because he knows he's guilty and he's being careful with his words, but it doesn't matter. Listen.
Did anybody ever contact you and ask you if the president actually was okay? He was doing okay?
Yes, I can remember like I can't even remember which donor. I can remember getting a call after one of his fundraisers. I can't place who it was, but I took the...
You can't place who it was, or you won't place who it was, because you already know that talking is getting you in trouble, and perhaps maybe whoever you're referring to would actually have you in trouble in a way that you wouldn't be able to survive.
The call, and that person was concerned.
What were they concerned about?
I think he had not performed particularly well, and they were struck by his use of the teleprompter in a smaller setting, which I explained was because we needed to make sure these fundraisers didn't go on too long. And
they all knew, every single one of them, but they didn't care because it wasn't Trump. Anyone but Trump, even a brain-dead, pants-shitting, scrambled eggs brain person, it didn't matter.
It was hard to keep that discipline absent the words being on the screen. But it was all about, could he win re-election?
It's all they cared about. Could he win re-election? It's all we care about. It's power, power, power. We don't care about anything else. You think we care about the American people? No. We care about staying in power. And when Scrambled Eggs Brain, thankfully, completely melted down on national television, now all of a sudden, what do we do? Well, we have this laughing hyena that no one likes and everyone hates, and she's fake black, so I guess we'll just have to go with her. Meanwhile, she was probably just as brain dead as he was, thankfully.
Did the donors' concerns, did they attribute those concerns to issues related to age or the perception thereof?
I don't have a specific recollection, but yes, that the president's age is the most difficult issue in the context of the re-elect, or one of the most difficult issues. And his perception at that fundraiser was that he wasn't able to put those perception issues to rest.
But that was my view, was that the best approach for us.
This is now Michael Donnellan speaking, and this scumbag
would be to have
former senior advisor to the fake president.
lightened his scheduled load.
This was the guy, by the way, that was going to get a $4 million bonus, and he admitted it under oath in this deposition if Biden was reelected. Keep that in mind.
And I don't believe I, at least ever, had success.
And when you say lighten his schedule load, do you mean fewer events
Yeah, it means calling a lid at 3 p.m. to feed him fucking spinach.
in the day? Maybe you can expand on what you
Oh,
mean
yeah.
by that.
Well, what I meant was, sometimes it'd be fewer events a day.
We did
Back to
have
Jeffrey Zients again.
some outsiders at different points in the process. There's a guy named, I think I have it right, Michael Sheehan, who's a speech coach that has worked with President Biden for years. So he would come in towards the end. We had Steven Spielberg joins.
Steven Spielberg, the famous director of E.T. and whatever else. Him. What a scumbag. And Katzenberg. And I don't know about Geffen. I mean, the three of them probably. But, I said this on X today, and it may be shocking to you. I don't care. As someone who's Jewish, both parents had a bar mitzvah, proud to be a Jew. It's these types of scumbag Jews that give Jews a bad name. It's why anti-Semitism is as high as it is, because of these types of fucking dirtbags.
I think for some sessions, I think around the State of the Union. And Jeffrey Katzenberg was also involved in some of those sessions.
What input did Mr. Spielberg and Mr. Katzenberg contribute?
It was typically around, boy, the language doesn't pop there, is there different vocabulary, or this is an opportunity to really slow down and deliver. So it's around delivery and language, not around policy in any way, shape, or form.
Did Mr. Spielberg contribute to any other speeches or events that President Biden would deliver, or your time knowing him?
Yes, I can't recall specifically, but yeah, there were other times and important speeches, generally around I think post the State of the Union, around the campaign. He might have been involved in some of the debate prep, for example.
And is the answer the same for Mr. Katzenberg?
Yeah.
So Spielberg and Katzenberg are not just directing movies and producing films. They're directing a fake White House, okay? From sets to makeup to hair to how many steps that he can take to where he can go to what questions that you can ask him. The whole thing was the Biden pretendency. And you know what? I hope these people in Hollywood get what they deserve too. It's not just the people in AutoPen. It's anyone that helped this cover-up. Anyone involved in this cover-up needs to hang, okay? Not jail, not fines, not long imprisonment. No, you need to suffer the worst possible penalty because you stole 4 years from the American people, number one. You then allowed the people that stole from the American people to kill the American people, number two, and destroy the lives, number three, of millions of Americans, including murdering them. Because let's not forget, the stolen election led to the coronavirus and COVID, okay? The two are intertwined. Just as I reported back in March of 2020. Josh Bernstein said it, and I'll read it in a little bit. But I said it all. I said they stole the election, they released the virus, they had help from China. All of that was done to stop President Trump, stop his rallies, bring in the mail-in ballots, keep everyone at home so they could steal the election. And I was right then, and I'm right now, and I hope to God that these people are held accountable finally. It looks like President Trump is not playing around. And I don't know why it took the House Oversight Committee 5 years later for him to take this type of an approach. That's disconcerting, to say the least.
Yes, they were generally together.
Did either Mr. Katzenberg or Mr. Spielberg ever approach you and have a conversation about concerns about the president's either appearance or health or age?
They were, I remember, I think it was Katzenberg, not Spielberg, had concerns about the strength of the president's voice, that he wasn't loud enough. So I think that I remember Katzenberg bringing that forward. They both did weigh in on things like, more casual events and take the tie off, which I wish I could do right now. But
what I can tell you, however, is that I think
This is Ashley Williams. Sorry, the print on the video is small. And it says, what does she do? What does this idiot do?
the key words here,
Former
meticulously stage managed,
Former deputy assistant to the fake president.
are accurate representations of what it means to manage a principal. And so when you have a principal, like a member of Congress or a president of the United States, every single minute of their day has to be coordinated, has to be scheduled. And so that is not
Only when you're a brain-dead, scrambled eggs, pants-shitting dementia patient. President Trump doesn't schedule every second of his day. He has a schedule. How many times has he taken and done interviews on the plane and on Air Force One going to and from different places and events? How many times walking to Air Force One or to helicopters or whatever does he do an impromptu outside public, press conference on the whim? You know why he does it? Because he can think, because he has the ability to have a brain in his head that is not scrambled. That's why. We're not hiding anything. And now the left, after basically gaslighting the American people for 4 fucking years, you have the balls and the audacity to even say anything about Trump at all? He is perfectly healthy. This guy's got more energy than 20-year-olds, okay? He can fly around the entire world and do 8 different peace deals in a weekend. And you mean to tell me that he has an issue and a problem? No, you're the scumbags that hid the worst health crisis of a fake president in U.S. history, stole power, and now, hopefully, you're all going to hang. That's right, Bernstein said it. You're all going to hang for it. I can't wait. That's what I want to see. That's right, just like this. I want to fucking see it like you cannot fucking believe it.
Consistent with past practices for presidents or elected officials in my experience.
So there were topics like that. Can we
Back to
maybe
Zion.
shorter and more crisp? There were discussions of should we get him into settings where he's not, how we're dressed today. There were conversations about, makeup and things of that nature.
Makeup?
Applying makeup to the president was discussed.
Sorry.
Did you, who did you have that discussion with?
I was going to say, I know that was a topic of discussion. I was never in any deep discussions around that. But I was aware of the desire for him to, in public settings, make sure that makeup is applied, which, going back to my Obama days, that happened also, clearly. But there was, let's make sure that we have the discipline of that for public appearances.
Given that, I think that
This is Anita Dunn, the
in
communist.
2024, the White House made the decision that the president was not going to do the CBS Super Bowl interview. And I think that's what you're asking about.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you could have asked me.
And why did you advise against, in 2024, let's start with that interview?
The first, as I remember, I'm going to have to remember this.
By the way, Anita Dunn is the one that put Chairman Mao Christmas tree ornaments at the White House. Let that sink in for a second while you're listening to this.
It was going to be 3 minutes that they were going to show, and then an additional 20 minutes across their other platforms throughout the following week. So it really wasn't the huge interview that, say, Barack Obama had gotten when I was in.
They were afraid to let this guy talk because it sounded like suppression, whatever the it was.
The White House back then. But the second reason was a timing issue, as I remember, that we anticipated that her report was going to come out, and that we didn't feel that spending, an entire interview before the Super Bowl talking about classified documents was going to help the cause too much.
When you say 3 minutes, do you mean that I'm really showing how little I know about this, and
Okay.
Please educate me. When you say 3 minutes, the interview itself wouldn't last 3 minutes, right? You're talking
No,
about...
the interview was going to be longer. I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
No,
But-
so were you concerned that the 3-minute clip was going to be not a good clip?
Well, we were concerned it was going to be a clip that for Super Bowl watchers was not going to be what we wanted to be talking about.
And by not wanting to be talking about, you're talking about the Hur report potentially?
I'm talking, yes, about classified documents as opposed to, whatever else the president might have wanted.
Even Robert Hur needs to be prosecuted because he knew point blank that this guy was mentally incapacitated. And instead he goes, well, he's just an old man with a bad memory. Blah, 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 blah. Get out of here. You need to go to jail too.
Wanted to talk about. So that was the decision that nobody within the White House disagreed with.
We talked about
Back to Zients again.
the activities that the team undertook post that stumble.
So after he fell going up the steps that we've seen the meme of him falling 3 times, they decided at that point, no more walking. We're going to count his steps. We're going to make sure that we have things on the floor that show him where to go. You know, like an infant, basically. Okay? Unbelievable. They cannot get away with this.
That was not a campaign event where that occurred, but that was applied across the board. I believe we touched on the fact that the president, driven by trying to get in and out of the fundraisers, would sometimes use a teleprompter at a fundraiser. But all of this was, how do you most efficiently use the president's time? And how do we avoid a potential of another stumble in what we talked about before?
Do you recall how many cabinet meetings President Biden
Neera
held?
Tanden.
Overall.
This is one evil bitch, okay? Hardcore. This one has been involved in every single scandal, from helping Hillary Clinton steal the nomination away, of course, from Bernie Sanders, to the entire Ukrainian situation with the funding, with the color revolution of 2014. She's involved with all of it. Lisa Monaco, of course, a big part of it as well. And she was one of the main people that were using the auto pen.
Oh? No.
Were there cabinet meetings, full cabinet meetings, that were outside of kind of the public view?
Well, he had multiple meetings with cabinet members.
But I'm saying kind of the big
Full
ones
cabinet?
that had the TV pool in them. Like, how many of those cabinet meetings did he have full cabinet? If you know.
I don't know. I mean, my memory was that they were about once a quarter, once every 6 months.
It's the age part of that, and it was around the topics that we've been talking about. How do we get him more time to, do his reading? How do we make sure he has appropriate family time? How do we make sure that when he's in public, he's presenting clothing and other things at the very, very best? Things that
Make sure his diaper isn't full of shit. They forgot to add that. I'll add it.
that nature. About ensuring that the stumble, the fall that he had, which could happen to any of us, right? That it not happen again or minimize the probability of that. And so how do you reduce the number of steps and things of that nature? So, the first day that, not even the first day, as I was leading up for Chief of Staff, unsurprising to me was we've got to work on the president's schedule. I heard back during the Obama administration, the president's time is the most important asset for a White House. And there's demand for many multiples of his available time. And how do you triage those requests? How do you build in some downtime? How do you make sure that a president has enough time with family? So that pressure was part of my job throughout.
Around July 12th, I believe Senator Schumer contacted you and said, as it is reported, let me see Biden or I'm going to publicly request a meeting. Did that occur?
Yes. I think we talked about that a little bit earlier, that Schumer really wanted a meeting, and we arranged for that in Rehoboth Beach.
Unbelievable. Every single person involved should be lined up on a wall and face a firing squad. And I don't give a shit who hears that publicly. Okay? I'm done. I don't care. I want to see these people held accountable to the most severest possible penalty of law, whatever that may be. That's what I want to see happen, okay? And again, I was right. I was correct. USA Today, which is a pretty big publication, been around, I don't know, 100 years maybe, 70, 60 years, whatever it is. They actually took a full-page ad out on March 29th of 2020 at 11:55 Eastern Time, if you really want to get specific. And it says, fact check. Coronavirus did not spread in the U.S. because of an anti-Trump conspiracy. This entire fact check from USA Today is about yours truly, okay? The whole thing. The claim. Coronavirus outbreak in the United States is a result of a coordinated effort against President Donald Trump. In a March 10th episode of his show, commentator Josh Bernstein claimed that the spread of the coronavirus in the United States was a result of a conspiracy between the Democratic Party and the Chinese government. Bernstein said, quote, I believe that because Russia didn't work, and Ukraine didn't work, and the impeachments didn't work, they were so hell-bent on destroying this country and this president to gain back their power that they worked with the Chinese government and they devised this plan, Bernstein said. Then it goes on to say this. During this episode, Bernstein also claimed that Democrats and the Chinese government used the, quote, medical deep state, which I have covered ad nauseum throughout the past 4 or 5 years, and I've given you oodles of examples of that. I even put it in Preserving Liberty, my book. I talked about it in the China syndrome. I talked about it in the whole Fauci and the COVID thing. I exposed it all. I used the CIA's emails against them, the FBI's emails against them, the payoffs from the scientific community, all the fake science that they put forward, knowing it was fake, just to gaslight the people, not just in America, but the entire world. So again, they make me sound crazy, but of course we know I'm not. And then it says, they used the medical deep state to spread the virus among the American public, to scare the living daylights out of everyone in order to shut down the economy, to shut down the markets, and to stop President Trump's economy agenda and his rallies. That's what I said. The view that political opponents of Trump are using the coronavirus pandemic for partisan ends has been echoed in the media, as well as by the president and some of his other allies. The explicit claim that Democrat Party officials conspired with a foreign government, specifically Beijing, to engineer a pandemic for political gain is, however, not supported by any facts. Yeah, well, we already know what happened. They also say in this article that it came from a wet market, too. We already know that that's not true. We already know that it came from the Wuhan lab. So USA Today is full of it. And by the way, they lied and they said that they reached out to Bernstein for comment, but he never returned. Are you kidding me? As censored as I was, I would have done anything to get a full interview with USA Today, just to break out, just to get out from underneath the censorship. So they're lying. They never reached out to me. They never contacted me. They never emailed me. Nothing. Okay? That's the truth. These lying scumbags. So the bottom line is this. I'm pointing that out because, once again, we were right, they were wrong, and it looks as though, at least at this point, President Trump seems to be pretty serious, at least from his rhetoric. Again, talk is cheap. Where's the action? I understand that you said that you are now nullifying all of the orders and all that. Okay, wonderful, that's great. But where's the teeth to that? How are you going to do that? If you don't think Boasberg and these judicial gnats are going to file lawsuits in the next few days to try to figure out a way to stop you, then you're crazy, number one. And number two, I've already told you the best way to do this. It's very, very simple. All you have to do is indict all the people involved with the auto pen, have all the forensic evidence proving that Biden didn't sign anything, then bring the case, indict them, grand jury, the whole bit, and bring it to the Supreme Court and let them hash it out with evidence. And you know what you're going to get? You're going to get a 6-3, 5-4, but likely a 6-3 decision to undo and nullify everything, including, by the way, Ketanji Brown Jackson, who was never appointed or confirmed by Joe Biden himself, and she was done by auto pen. So we could be able to even get rid of that skank off of the courts, who doesn't know what a woman is. I mean, it's unbelievable. You got to understand the depth that these scumbags, these demonic people went to gaslight the American people. I've known about it. You've known about it. We've all known about it. From day one, we were saying the illegitimate Biden regime or the Biden pretendency. Over and over and over. You can go through all the old videos. I don't have time, but you can do that. You know it. This is how bad they gaslighted the American people. And these idiots, and I'll say it, the majority of people in America are stupid. That's right, you're stupid. And the fact that you thought, even for 1 second, that Trump didn't win and that this was the legitimate choice of the American people, do you need your fucking heads examined? I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't understand it. All I can do at this point is pray, pray, pray that these people hang for what they have done to this country. Those are my thoughts. What are yours? Put them down in the comments below. We'll see you in the next one.